Um, Hi, welcome everyone. How is everyone today? Good. We just want to say thank you also to Donna and doing something like the Beauty Beat, which I feel like is a long time coming. We're super excited. We're a bit emotional. Was like, don't cry. So a little bit overwhelming, but it's just such a beautiful space to be in with just excellent, a room of excellence. So thank you guys so much for coming, and thank you so much, Donna, for having me and Bernicia to be a part of such a monumental project as well. So we've got the lovely, I'm off. Well, let me introduce myself first. My name is Cherelle Lazarus, and I'm the national stylist for NARS Cosmetics, and I've been with the brand for 11 years, and this is my beautiful model.
Hi guys. Honestly, there's no words to describe this feeling. This is like honestly a full circle moment to be working with the Beauty Beat, to be working with NARS, and to be here with a makeup artist that has actually inspired me my whole career. So this is a major moment. I can just see so many beautiful black faces in the crowd, and I'm overwhelmed. I love you guys so much, and I really hope you enjoy this.
Okay. So what we're going to be doing today, guys, is complexion. It is literally something that we definitely started off our journey together with talking about, didn't we? And seeing each other as two, obviously, dark-skinned women in a beauty hall, probably about 15 years ago. Our story does go way back. And we just wanted to kind of bring what we do and what we love so much, because we always say if your complexion's right, it doesn't matter about colour, do you know what I mean? You can add anything to it, but it needs to be the right tones and undertones, and that's what we're going to show you today with all the NARS products.
Absolutely. Let's
get started. Okay, so first I'm going to start off with, because a lot of people don't know that NARS does skincare, and this is one of my favourite products, and it's the Multi-Action Hydrating Toner, and it's absolutely amazing for the skin. It's a liquid exfoliator. Have you ever used this before?
No, actually.
Oh my God.
This one.
So literally, I have to have this in my kit, because it's absolutely amazing.
And you like to use this before applying makeup?
Yes.
As a part of the prep. So
Part
makeup
of the
prep is super important, guys.
Yes, super, super important. Now, this is a liquid exfoliator. This is the way I like to kind of describe it. And it just removes any kind of dead skin cells from the skin. It draws out any impurities to the skin as well. So it gives you a nice, refreshed base to work off. So this is great. It's gentle enough to wear every day as well. I'm conscious of my lovely ladies on this side as well, so if you just turn this way for me, Vanessa, you can see it's got that really beautiful light reflecting glow as well to the skin, so you know that it's going to pick up the skin and give you that beautiful glow to it straight away. Now, I'm a massive skincare enthusiast. Are you as well, Vanessa?
I'm obsessed with skincare. Like for me, when it comes to doing makeup, your makeup is important. Don't get me wrong. Applying complexion, applying, coverage is really important. But nothing takes your makeup and elevates it more than skincare. What you use underneath your skin is really what's going to reflect that glow. You want to glow from within. Like I've kind of passed that stage of applying loads of glow products on top of my makeup. Yeah. I love what goes underneath the skin. So these steps right here, this is the real tea. Like this is the real tea.
So then I'm going to go on with the Light Reflecting Moisturiser, which is something that we redone recently, actually, part of our brand. What I love about it is that it goes into the skin really quickly. If you're anything like us, we were just saying just a minute ago that we like to be able to do our makeup, especially these days. You don't have as much time maybe as you used to. And I always say, if I can't do my makeup within 20 minutes, like this is 20 minutes, guys, I'm not going to do it, okay?
What a word. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, especially when you're a makeup artist, you work with makeup every single day, you're getting people glammed up. Sometimes doing it on yourself can feel a little bit tedious, but it's so good to find tips and tricks that makes it very quick and easy to apply your makeup. And so you're still in love with it. Every now and again, I do the 2-hour beat for no reason. But most of the time, I want quick and easy steps to get through my glam, but still have that amazing finish to it. By the way, Cherelle taught me so much about complexion. She introduced me to the brand 15 years ago on the shop floor, Harvey Nichols.
Yes.
And she came up to me and she's like, "What foundation are you using? You need to be using this one." And I was just hooked from that day. As you can imagine, I'm a makeup artist, so I get anxiety when anyone touches my face. Like, I literally can't breathe. I'm like, ah. But this lady right here, I owe it all to her, honestly.
I love you. Okay, so we're going to be using the eye gel because it's super important, especially we're going to use a lot of product on the thinnest area of the face. So it's really important to also prep it with eye cream. I always say I've been using eye cream since I was like 19. Okay, and I use it every single day. So if you're not using eye cream, guys, you need to get one, okay? It really does help. Also to add hydration to the skin, but it allows your product to sit a lot more smooth in the skin, because most of the time you have a lot of dehydration around those areas. And I know a lot of people are like, why does my concealer move? Why does it, crease? This can be one of the reasons if you're not prepping properly. So we're just using a little bit around the orbital bone.
Do you prefer water-based or more creamy?
It all depends on the person that's sitting, obviously, in my chair. So it depends on the skin tone. So it's really important. Like, it depends if you're, more combination skin, if you've got dry skin. For me, I get eczema. So for me, I do prefer water-based. I prefer water-based in most,
I feel
scenarios.
like a lot of black skin especially, we have so much natural moisture in our skin.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, we try and step away from anything that has moisture, anything that's water-based, anything that feels like might make our skin more oily. But they don't tell you this all the time. You need to put moisture in your skin so you don't develop that natural kind of oily sheen. That's what we don't want. So put moisture in your skin. Don't be scared to moisturize, prime properly, use products before putting your makeup on. Don't just think about getting the matte effect or getting that kind of more soft matte effect, like my favorite foundation by NARS. But don't think about it like, I don't want to put loads of moisture. Moisturize your skin. Your skin needs it. It's like nutrients to your body.
Definitely, I totally agree. But I'm going to say something, primer. Do you feel like you need primer?
Yes.
Okay, so
I'm
I
a
don't.
stan. I'm a primer
So I don't.
stan.
So this is what I said. Literally, I don't use primer unless I need it. Okay. So the reason being is because, there's no rules in makeup. It's a personal thing. If you don't need it, I will definitely skip it. I love using primers to manipulate the skin. So the same kind of thing that you were talking about. So if I want to add a bit of radiance into the skin and I want that glow from within, I would use something like the Radiance Primer, which I'm going to be using on Bernicia today. However, if it's more like to minimise the appearance of pores or anything like that, because primers have come a long way and they can do so much for your skin.
There's so many different types of primers.
Yeah, but where I've got like dry skin, my skin sticks everything on, like it doesn't move. So once I put the foundation on, it won't move at all. But if you're dealing with more combination oily skin, then maybe so.
100%.
Yeah,
I completely agree. I feel like there's an advantage and disadvantage to everybody's skin, right? And I think it's all about understanding what your skin needs. Makeup for me isn't just about, watching YouTube and copying what your favorite YouTuber is doing. It's really important to understand your skin. What do you need? Like, what's going to work for you? Play around with products. For me, I need a primer. I'm the opposite to Cherelle. I have very oily skin, as you can probably tell right now. I'm sure everyone's camera's bouncing off the shine off my face. But it's okay, we will get there. We will mattify, it's no problem. But what I would say is I've learnt that I need a mattifying primer. And NARS is incredible because they have loads of different primers that are catered to your different types of skin. So it's really important to understand what your skin needs and using the right products that will make your skin look great with makeup.
And don't be scared to actually put, like you just said, because you've got oily skin. A lot of people tend to stay away from anything that has got oil in it or is going to add radiance or sheen to the skin. But like I said, it's all about manipulating because we're going to be using a soft matte foundation. But for instance, if I was to use a matte foundation on someone that had a little bit more of a dehydrated skin, then it's going to bring through the texture on the skin, which I don't want. I want it to look super flawless.
And then you'd even it out with the primer that gives a little bit more moisture.
So definitely do all the work first and then apply foundation.
100%.
Okay, so it is super important, and I always say, especially with women of colour matching. Please do not buy your foundations online, guys. Like when I hear that,
I'm like, for.
Like literally, like I know there's some great, companies and websites out there that say you can come here and we'll show you what you are. 9 times out of 10, it'll be wrong. Okay, it will not the perfect match, and we want the skin to look like skin. Okay, I always say that your foundation should be undetectable. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong, I love a full beat as well, especially if I'm going out, and I'll really go for it. However, on a day-to-day basis, your skin should be able to breathe and look really natural and enhance your natural beauty. okay? And that's something that NARS is all about. So I know you love this foundation. It's not my favourite foundation. I've got to be really honest with you guys.
Well, we're going to have to argue about that.
Right, because I know you love it so much. I love the natural radiant longwear, but that's a great thing.
I swear by it. I'm the kind of girl, it doesn't matter where I'm going. I could be going to the corner shop. Honey, it's going to be a full beat. Like, that's me. I know that I've got clear skin and I can get away with a tinted moisturiser and whatever have you, but I do like the look of flawless finish. This soft matte foundation will give you that and more. It's really buildable. It does dry nice and matte on the skin, obviously by the name, but it's just a flawless finish foundation. I like that. But if you're somebody that wants a more everyday type finish, NARS have an array of foundations for you.
Really.
But if you like that beat, you're going to a wedding, you're going anywhere that you're going to be photographed, this is your baby, this is your best friend. I swear by it. And I've converted so many of my clients to the soft matte foundation, guys.
Definitely has. And it's 16-hour wear as well. So once you've got it on, it stays on.
Sorry, I was just going to say, like, I love makeup that you can manipulate. For me, with one layer, you can kind of get away with looking like you've got less makeup on. But for me, once you go to the second layer, we're in the room. Third layer, bad B, no one can chat to you. Like, it's that kind of foundation.
It really is.
I'm sorry, pause where? It's a filter, legit.
It really
it's a
is.
filter. It's that good.
It is that good. Tell me, Swayman over there. So, with darker skin, we was just having this conversation that I love kind of highlighting with foundation as well to give you a more of a natural finish, or with concealer. I hate anything like highlighting powders. I love the fact that we're on the same page with this as well, like doing that artificial kind of highlighter. I love to get that glow from within. And also, even though this is matte, your natural oil still does come through whilst wearing it. So what we're going to do, we're going to use 2 shades of foundation. Don't be scared to use 2 shades of foundation, guys. If your skin needs it, do it.
I believe in the highlighting process. I swear by a very bright under eye. Some people are under my comments like, your under eye is too bright. Keep it to yourself, honey. I love a bright under eye. But what I will say is the highlighting process starts very early on in your makeup stages. I think the mistake a lot of people make is using something to make your under eyes look bright. If you start with a foundation, for instance, I'm naturally Namibia. I'm a very deep toned girl, right? And if you start to highlight from your foundation, you'll find that you get this beautiful luminosity to your skin, and it's almost undetectable where the light and the dark meets, and that's what you want. So Cherelle's going in with Namibia all over my face, and then New Caledonia, that's like 1 shade brighter to start the highlight process, just in the T-zone and in the areas that we want to pop, which for me is under eyes, down my nose, I was like a nice brightness, and on my chin.
Yeah, so we're using Namibia at the moment. And as you guys can see, I'm using my fingers. This is a technique that we do at NARS. The fingers really warms up and really activates the... But you don't use it all the time, like, do you?
No, I don't. See, I grew up like, you know, I'm a little bit old. Not old, let me not say that, because there are probably people older than me here. But I'm 31 years old. And when I was coming up, I loved makeup since I was like 14 years old, right? And this wasn't the era of beauty blenders. My favorite makeup artists use tools. So I'm naturally a tools girl. Like, I love to use my brushes. Like, I will use 5 different brushes to do one thing. Because when I was growing up, the makeup artists that I would look up to, they had all these brushes, and they knew all these tricks to making the skin look flawless, and I was obsessed with it. But I do still kind of like, if I'm doing a quick look, I'll draw for like a beauty blender or any type of sponge to just quickly apply. But I love brushes. I don't know about you guys. You guys like, are you brushes or sponges? Let's see your hands for sponges.
Sponges. Beauty blenders. It's in sponges as well, yeah? Okay.
And then brushes. That's
okay. Well, hold on. Fingers? Any fingers in the room?
Yeah. Fingers. Okay. Fingers are great too. And the amazing thing about using your hands is your body naturally warms up the product, and it just blends in really flawlessly.
Exactly, and you use less product. Like, NARS does not sell a foundation brush or sponge. We use our fingers to apply it because it gives you more of a skin-like finish. So for everyday look, and if you've never tried your fingers, which is literally more than half of you in this room, try it. Try it and see how you get. I did my foundation with my fingers today. Like, it does look absolutely amazing, and it is quick. And I always say, a bottle of foundation like this should last you the best part of the year, and I bet most of you can't say it does.
No,
I heard that over here. I heard that. Okay. So mine does last a long time. I would say 9 months to a year, my foundation bottle lasts me. So turn this away from me. And I use it every single day. So as you can see, this is just going into the skin absolutely beautifully.
It feels great as well. I think as well, one thing that I love about makeup is there's no rules to makeup.
Yeah.
Like, I make my own rules to makeup every single day. Every new client I have, find different tips and tricks that works for their skin, their face, their structure, and what have you. So, like, don't be afraid to just try different ways of applying makeup. Sometimes I can use an eyeshadow brush to apply foundation, and people will be looking at me like, isn't that going to take a long time? But I like it. It makes it really full on. As you know, I love that. So...
We're going to just use New Caledonia, which is a shade a little bit lighter now, just to highlight on the skin. And this is what's going to give that beautiful natural highlight like me and Bernicia was just talking about. So this is New Caledonia. This is a shade that I actually use as well all over my face. And then we're going to use a little bit of concealer to start that process. Don't be scared to take your foundation also underneath the eye, because that is going to start not only colour correcting underneath the eye, so you don't have to use too much concealer underneath there, but it's going to even out everything as well.
If you're like me and you get like really bad dark circles, different times of the year I get dark circles, and NARS have an amazing creamy concealer, but it's actually a colour corrector, and it comes in different shades of orange, and it's so good. Sometimes I even use it on top of my makeup as like a blusher, because I love the tone of orange that it is, but like colour correctors are incredible as well.
Yeah. Has anyone used the Radiant Creamy Concealer in this room? Show of hands? What? Okay.
Really?
Wow.
Oh, you guys are about to come on a journey. Trust me, this creamy concealer, I swear by it. Absolutely swear by it. It's incredible.
Do you see how crazy that is? Because actually, that concealer, which is this concealer here, the Radiant Creamy Concealer is the best-selling concealer. It's #1 in the US. Like, it is. Everybody has it. Do you know what I mean? Obviously not you guys, but you will today.
You're going to learn today.
You're going to learn today. Everyone needs it in their life. Every time I show it to someone, like, this is my desert island product. I always say, I want this. I don't want food. It's fine. I want to look fabulous on the island, okay? This is the product I need. So we're going to start off with a darker shade first, just to start adding coverage underneath the eye. I don't think Bernicia has dark, like really dark circles, as she says. No, you don't. You don't. Oh, gorgeous. So I'm just going to use it. And like we said about like using a blending brush, I love using a eyeshadow blending brush. Or we also do sell a Radiant Creamy concealer brush as well now, which it just gives you more of an airbrush finish. And the reason why I go in with the concealer with a brush instead of my fingers, which you can use your fingers for a natural finish, is because I want to add a little bit more coverage. This is where I'm going to perfect the skin, okay? So use your foundation to even out everything, and then use your concealer to cover, okay? So whether it's dark spot, hyperpigmentation, rosacea, whatever you may have in your skin, use the concealer to do that so you get a natural finish on the skin. And we're using shade Cafe first.
I love Cafe. That's the one I draw to first all the time.
Yeah. And we're going to use it with darker skin. You always find that you're a little bit more darker around even the lip area. And especially when you're going to do a lip or bold lip, this is a great technique to do first. So it really makes your lip line pop a little bit more.
Absolutely. And if you're anything like me, I have quite a lot of hair on my face. Like, not in a... I do, I get it sorted out, but it leaves like darker areas on my skin. Yeah. So this concealer, being a medium to full coverage, is an amazing way to disguise that and to just kind of blend your makeup effortlessly. So
definitely, just turn this way for me, darling. Perfect, and look up for me. Perfect. Now, what's left on my brush, I'm just going to glide it over the lid area as well, just before we start using a little bit of eyeshadow as well. So close your eyes. Don't ever forget your lids, obviously, because this will also colour correct your lid area as well. And if you don't have enough time to do eyeshadow, once we get onto the contouring bit, we're actually going to show you something that both of us love doing with our new cream bronzers, which is just so nice. With a little bit of mascara, you're ready to go. So as you guys can see, I'm really blending it into the skin, okay, like big circular movements. And like Bernicia said as well, I love using smaller brushes for absolutely everything. You rarely see me use a big brush, especially when it comes to powder, because I don't like to over powder the skin either.
Okay.
Don't you agree?
Yeah, I really go hand with powder. But again, there's so many different styles to doing your makeup. And it's so important and amazing to have another makeup artist doing my makeup, because makeup is down to interpretation. It's just how you want yourself to look and what makes you feel comfortable. For me, I like powder because, like I said, I get really oily. At the start of this, Cherelle mentioned she's more dry. If you're really dry, maybe stay away from so many powders. If you're really oily, it might become your best friend. And I like to brighten my under eye a lot, and that's always accentuated with a really bright powder. So I swear by it.
Amazing. So now we're going to go on to a shade lighter than, 2 shades lighter than the Cafe, which is Amande.
I love Amande.
And it's going to literally brighten. It's got a really beautiful golden undertone to it. The Radiant Creamy Concealer is so amazing, guys, because it's got a micro mineral powder already infused. So I don't tend to actually set my under eye with anything whilst I'm using this product, because it sets really beautifully. Like today, I have no powder underneath my eyes.
Are you being serious?
No powder.
I can't believe it. Can't be real. How does it look so flawless?
It's just what I'm saying.
That's
I think
magic.
It is magic, but the thing is that you can just see how it works with different skin tones and complexions as well. And it just depends on your type of skin. Do you know what I mean?
For me, if I try to do no powder, by the time I get to the back of that, you know that door there? I'll be oily and crazy. So I can't even try it.
Turn this way. The great thing at NARS as well, we do have like the best powder as well, because it's really it's triple milled, so it's finely milled. So when you're applying it, it doesn't even feel like you're putting powder on the skin.
I'm obsessed with this powder. Like, when you find a really fine powder, it's nice for it to look matte, but not detectable. You don't want to look at someone's face and be able to tell they've got tons of powder on, because you start to look cakey. You always want your makeup to look flawless. You want your makeup to look like, you know, yourself, but even better. No one's actually powdery in real life. Our skin naturally has this glow and this radiance to it, right? And no matter how, you know, naturally oily or naturally dry you are, you want that perfect medium. So make sure that you have a powder that's really fine and will blend into your skin and make your skin just look like skin but better. I can't even see it and I know it looks good. You know when she's like doing it with love. Oh, God, yeah.
Always. Turn this way for me. I'm just going to just blend it up on this side. And then we're actually going to go in with caramel, because I know you love a little bit of caramel.
I do. I like a really, really bright under eye. That's my own little thing. So we're going to go even brighter, just a tiny bit under my eyes.
And notice every time I'm putting a lighter colour on, I'm taking it to the centre of the face where the light naturally hits off the skin, because that will make it look more natural.
You have to even it out. If you put a light concealer just under your eyes and you don't blend it into your T-zone, onto your forehead and onto your chin, top of your lip, you're just going to look like you've got 2 light marks. But the thing is, where I like to highlight is I shine a bit of light onto my face. Wherever my skin naturally picks up a glow, that's where your highlighter goes. Everyone's face is completely different, so there isn't one way of highlighting. It's really important to fine-tune makeup to yourself. So look at you, like, where do I actually need the highlight? If you put it in all the places that everyone else does it,
it's not going to be effective.
End up looking different to you don't want that.
Exactly. So we're just going to use a little bit of caramel, same brush, and we're going to be using it just in the inner corner to really brighten. So instead of blending, I'm actually going to pat it in first, because I want to have that brightening effect underneath Bernicia's eyes. Always remember the inner corner as well, okay? And I'm just going to pat it, and I'm going to go back with my fingers to mesh it in to the foundation. And do you notice that we've just gradually built up? Because this is another thing that we were saying, wasn't it, that we love building up on our makeup. I hate just going for a light concealer, because it doesn't end up looking ashy, okay? So always have the different tones and undertones as well, which is really important.
I always use the analogy of, like, you know when you're in school, they're teaching you how to do art and stuff, and they talk about gradients, right? Your makeup should be gradient. You should gradually get lighter, right? So where we started off with the foundation right underneath my eyes, that's the first step. And then going in with the slightly lighter foundation, that's building up the brightness. And then going in with Amande, which is clearly brighter than my skin, but not as bright as I like to go. And then lastly, topping up with caramel. That's like a gradual thing. If we went from Namibia, which is my skin tone, right with caramel, it'd look really great underneath the eyes. So build it up, go shade by shade. Like, for me, every person should have like 3 concealers for brightening.
Definitely.
100%.
Okay. All right, amazing. So now we're going to go on to this beautiful powder that I've been talking about. And it's in a new packaging. I'm a sucker for packaging, so I got so excited. I didn't even care about the product inside of it. I was like, oh my God, loose powder. And are you a loose powder girl?
100%.
I love loose powder more than pressed, only because I feel like it's just a lot more finer. and then you don't, it's almost like more forgiving on the skin. Do you
For me, I
agree?
feel like a pressed powder is like my handbag powder.
Yes.
That's the powder I take out with me, I top up. But like applying makeup and doing all the stages, you need a good loose powder. It really sets into the skin. And I don't know about you, but I just love whisking it away once my look is done. Just like,
Just
boom.
because.
Yeah, just because.
So notice I'm using a very small brush. Do you use a big brush?
No,
Okay.
small brush.
Small brush for
Actually,
everything.
this stage I'd normally do with a sponge.
Aha, there
I'd
you
press
go.
it in with a sponge and then I let it sit. And then with a small brush, I'd like whisk it away.
Okay, so we have a technique at NARS, actually it's usually with a cotton bud, and we rock and roll the powder into the skin. So same kind of concept, but I'm doing it with a brush right now, so I'm pressing it into the skin. I want at this stage to see the powder almost on the skin, and then we will dust off any excess powder the skin doesn't need, just to ensure that the makeup obviously has been set on the skin. For me, like I said before, I don't over powder. I love powdering more so in the center of the skin, because what I don't want to do is take away that natural glow that we've got going on in this area. Okay, so we're just going to concentrate in the center of the skin, and that also adds dimension to the skin, okay, before you even start contouring or adding color.
And also remember, foundations and complexion products, no one's skin is one tone.
No.
Do you know what I mean? So when it comes to makeup, you apply your foundation, you want a flawless canvas, but then you want to recreate those features and bring it back to life. No one's skin's flat.
Exactly.
So like, you probably will be using it, but Exhibit A is one of my favorite blushes by NARS. It just brings my skin back to life. Everyone's got blues, greens, reds, oranges in their skin. As you're sitting here now, even with no makeup, you've got all these tones. When you put foundation on, it becomes very flat. Sometimes you look like you're wearing more makeup with just foundation than when you've actually recreated your features, done your bronzer, your this, your that. You recreate your features, you look more normal than you did with less makeup on. So using loads of products, using loads of products doesn't make you look like you've got loads of makeup on. It actually does the opposite. It makes you look more natural. So buy loads of products, guys.
So like I said, just in the center of the face, around, and then around the chin area as well. And now we're going to go into using our, have you used the cream bronzers, Bernicia?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, what do you think of them?
I absolutely love them. Like I was saying, for me, I love creamy products, and then I go over it with a powder just to set it in. But we want to carve the face, sculpt the face, and I think creams
lift.
do it perfectly. It's nice if you're really trying to get ready very quickly, you can use a powder bronzer. But when you want to sculpt, make definition, really make your features more pronounced, a cream's going to give you that.
Definitely. So I'm just using our Eater brush, super easy to use and contour. Like Bernicia was saying earlier, everybody's face shape is different, so it's really important for you to kind of find out your face shape and features, and you really need to kind of feel through, okay, your bone structure. So it literally slightly dips into the skin here. This is where I want to apply my first application of the bronzer. Now these blend in so good.
I've got this brush and I am obsessed.
It's absolutely
And it also,
incredible.
like the shape of it, I don't know if you can see the shape, but it just fits so nicely down the nose as well.
Like literally
does all the job for you.
For sure. And then what I do, once I found that placement, I never blend down, I always blend upwards, okay? Because you want to keep this almost sharp, and then you're just going to blend.
When it comes to blending as well, think of it like, what shapes are you trying to create? If you, like, for me, I always say makeup is a play on light and dark. It's just manipulating light and dark to create your features and make them pop. If you're going downwards with your bronzer, you're dragging your face down. If you're brushing upwards and blending upwards, you're lifting the cheekbones up, the face is lifted, it's more sculpted. So always remember that when it comes to blending. But if you've got really, really high cheekbones and you want to pull it down a little, don't worry. That's what I mean about it's doing makeup to suit yourself. If your favorite YouTuber always goes up, but your cheekbones are naturally really, really high, are you going up, or are we kind of keeping it slightly lower? We're keeping it lower because we're doing it to suit our skin. I say all of that just to say everyone's beautiful, and really learn how to bring out your beauty and not try and replicate someone else's look.
I totally agree. Turn this way for me. So I'm just going to do the same on the other side. And then just blend up.
My hair's in the way.
Don't worry, darling. Perfect. And I just like to take whatever's left on the brush and just kind of sculpt the face as well underneath. You don't need to bronze or sculpt everywhere. Apply it where it's going to make the biggest difference. Remember when you're contouring, you're pulling up your features, aren't you? You're defining. I always say, like, I won't leave the house without lifting a bit. I need it. I need all the help in the world. So for me, it's like this area here for me. That is where I mostly apply my contour cream or powder. But yeah, just like Bernicia said, it is really important for you to know your face shape and where you need contour. If you're not sure, we've got a stand, and the guys in there will help you kind of show you how to do it to suit your face shape.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And bronzing is for everyone. I feel like sometimes as dark-skinned women, we feel like, well, we're already bronze. Honey, we can always be more bronze. And I love to bronze my skin as well as sculpt my skin. So I love bronzers. I love playing with different tones. I really like a warm bronzer. So when you're, like, the difference between bronzing and sculpting is sculpting is normally cooler. So you really are trying to define the skin, whereas bronzing, you're almost bringing this warmth to your skin.
To your skin, yeah. That golden glow that everybody's kind of trying to achieve.
Yeah. Like you've been on holiday. We always want that look, don't we?
Now we're also just using, and this is something I know you do a lot as well, is using the bronzing cream through the socket of the eye, also to create and highlight this area here.
This is like one of my top tips for life. If you don't have time to do your eyeshadow, nothing looks more done but not overdone than using your bronzer or the same blusher that you've used. First of all, it gives a really, really nice nude look. So using my bronzer as my eyeshadow and my blusher, sometimes even using the bronzer as my lip liner, it just gives you this really beautiful, nude, natural, blended look. And it's really quick and easy to achieve as well, and it means you're using less products.
Exactly. And using your products in multiple ways as well.
Every product has like 3 or 4 different uses, honestly.
Yes. Beautiful. Okay, so what we're going to do now, because we've done complexion, guys. Are you loving it? Yeah, amazing. So what we're going to do now, we're going to do a wash of colour, just because it's Christmas season, and we want to do a little sun. We're going to just use a little bit of, this one's called Mojave, and it's a beautiful quad, really, really stunning for this season. We've also got this one as well, which has got a little golden shimmer, which we're going to also use on the eye.
That's one of my go-tos.
Right, so I'm going to actually just hold that one for me. We're just going to use a little wash of colour.
Honey.
How gorgeous is that?
It's really nice.
We're just going to wash that beautiful brown. I always say when you're doing your eyes, it should take like 5 minutes, guys. Whether it's a smoky eye, like it won't take me any longer. How long does it take you usually to do your eyes? If you just need to just do it.
If I need to just do it, I think even less than 5 minutes.
There you go.
But I normally have 2 or 3 shades that I use, and I go in my socket with something warm as a transition.
That's correct.
And then go in with something dark and cool to really define the eye. And then I use as my base color something that pops.
Yeah. So we're going to use our high pigment long wear eyeliner, which is Via Finito. And we're just going to take it along the lash line. Just to add a little bit of definition, make the lash line look a little bit thicker. And look up for me. And I'm going to just use it also in the waterline. And they're super soft. You guys see how that just glided on, right? It's beautiful. And then we're just going to take a little brush. Close your eyes for me. Just to blend it out.
See, I love a winged liner. I can't leave my house without a winged liner. I feel like my eyes are always naked when I don't have it. But I feel like everyone has that one makeup thing
that you do.
That they're just like addicted to.
Definitely.
How many people love a winged liner? Oh my God, only 2 of you.
Well, this is like a really beautiful smoldery wing liner. Have a look, Bernicia.
That's
so we've
lovely.
literally just taken that shade just straight out. So let's do the same on the other side really quickly. So just along the lash line. And these come in all different kind of colors, guys, which is great. So you can really have a lot of fun with them. And we're just following. If you can see, I'm not doing this neat, guys, at all. It doesn't have to be perfect because I'm blending it out anyway. So just kind of just get it on, blend it upwards. Follow the natural lash line. And look up for me. taking that shade just in the waterline, just to add a little bit more sultriness and definition underneath the waterline, and just meeting it up underneath. Just such a quick eye to do if you don't have much time.
It's quick and effective. It looks really powerful, even though it's like such a quick look.
And then we're going to just add a little bit of shimmer. Close your eyes for me. And I'm just going to go in the center, like, look at that. And I'm doing this with my fingers, guys, just literally just popping it on.
I find that with shimmers, it's always nice to apply with your fingers because it sticks better.
It sticks better, exactly. It really does.
And even if you are going to use a brush, you can wet your brush a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And it'll be a lot more powerful. But how quick was that eye? Right? It's the same on the other side. You can apply it in the center, depending on your eye shape as well. Or you can do it in the inner corner of the eye as well, which I love. I love a little accent moment as well, where you just apply it in your tear duck. We're just using this all over, because it looks absolutely stunning on you. And I'm just going to go in with the brush, just to go right into the inner corner of the eye. Blend that a little bit away. What's your favourite product from NARS, Bernicia? That's one thing I haven't asked you before, I don't think.
I'm sure everyone can guess what it is. The soft matte foundation is definitely my favourite product. That's like a staple. Many NARS products are a staple in my kit. And for complexion, I don't know what I'd do without NARS. There's just a few things I just need all the time. The colour correctors, creamy concealer, foundations, and especially for women of colour, we're very, very much seen in NARS.
Yeah. We're just applying the Climax mascara now. And it's a true black. That's what I love about this.
This mascara is so good.
It's
if you're
insane,
anything
isn't it?
like me, I love lashes. Like, I can't leave my house without a pair of lashes on.
When I saw her first thing, I was like, where's your lashes?
She was like, you've got no lashes. I'm like, we're going to show product today. This mascara is probably the only mascara that I use that makes me feel like, okay, I can kind of like put my lashes down for a day. It's really good. And I'm not someone that has like long lashes.
Look down for me. And I like to really wiggle through when I'm applying mascara. I like to get right down to the base. It's like, ooh, I've done this before. But I love getting right down to the lash line to make the most of the lashes. Because it just makes your lash line look a lot thicker and bolder. So it just has a lot more, like a bolder look, especially if you aren't wearing lashes. Look up for me. And I like to apply just a little bit on the lower lash line as well. Not too much, because I don't want it to look too spidery.
I love the spidery look.
It is definitely a look.
Yeah, it's a look. It's either you love it or hate it. But I love drama on my eyes. Especially where I like to keep my eyeshadow quite neutral. I like create all the glamour comes from my lashes and my mascara on the bottom lashes.
All right, so we're going to just finish off with lip. I know we've done like a little bit of lip. Yeah, actually, that's good. Good shout. Just press it together for me. Perfect. Do you need some more? So you're right?
No, I'm good.
No, good. Okay, so we're just going to take, I'm using actually a eyeliner just for the lip. And like we said, we like to use our products in different ways. And I love a nice chocolate lip line. And I'm just getting it on because I'm going to blend it with, it's like a chocolate brown. It's really deep. And I'm going to blend that out and feather it along the lip line. And I'm going to use one of my favorite lip products, which is Get It On. And it's a Power Matte Lip Pigment. And it's absolutely brilliant. The color's gorgeous. It's like this beautiful pinky nude. And this is what it looks like on, guys. I always say also as well, makeup is all about balance, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So if you are kind of dressing up the eyes, you really want to kind of maybe mute the lips a little bit more. Depending, and if you do want to do both, it's just kind of getting that perfect balance between the two. And this product stays on. Once it's on, it's 8-hour wear, guys. You don't have to worry about it, and that's what I love, especially for party season. This is great.
100%. I'll go out and I'll look in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God, it's been 5 hours and my lips are still proper on.
All right. And then we're going to finish off with, again, one of my favorite lip glosses. If you guys haven't tried this lip gloss, it's called the Aftershine Lip Shine, the Afterglow Lip Shine. And it comes in a array of different colors, but my favorite one at the moment to go for is Nympho, especially for deeper skin. It looks absolutely beautiful. It's like the perfect nude. And the best thing that I love about it is that if you love gloss but you hate the stickiness, this has no stickiness to it at all. Press your lips together, Bernicia, feel it.
Oh my
How
God,
gorgeous
it
is
feels
that?
so creamy.
It almost feels like a lip oil on the lips.
Amazing.
And I just like to press it in. And there we have it, guys. That's the look. Do you have any last words?
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for all watching and enjoying this. This means so much to me, and it's just so amazing to just see all these amazing women in the room. And I hope you took something from today or you learned something new. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys. Okay. Just going to sit down here. This is your seat. Thank you. Bernicia, come sit.
Am I on? Hello, hello, hello. Oh, I am. Shame. Hi. Can everyone hear me? Also, guys running the sound, I laugh really loudly, so you might want to like temper this so we don't bust people's eardrum cord, boy. Hi, guys. Thank you all for coming. My name's Candice Brathwaite, and I'm the host of this awesome panel. Before we kick it off, real talk, I've been in this industry a long time. Sometimes I feel like too long. And this is by far the most beautiful and eloquent event for black women. So I just want us... and we've all been so emotional, and I know why, but I just want us to give big ups to Donna one more time, because to pull something like this together, and it's simple things like, I've got cue cards, we've got water, you've come in and it looks bare professional, we've got our own Wi-Fi, like, chow, even Google can't run it like this sometimes, so I just want to say, like, this is really important. Also for me, next year, a word that God has been thrumming me with is collaboration. And I think the one thing really holding back black British females is this idea that there can only be one of us at the table at any given time. Our African American sisters are flying because they do this every day. They're quick to support, they're quick to bring each other in. So I really want to give you guys that vibe today. Next year, I don't want to hear that we ain't talking to this one or we're not inviting this one. We all need to be in the same room, because when we're not, they're tricking us. yeah? They are able to lowball us because we're not all in the same space. So we need to be about collaboration. So I hope that's the vibe you guys get today. Watch out. I've done all that talking. Can I even remember what this session is called? I think it's Ace That Bass, and I am going to allow my great speakers to introduce themselves. I think we've got a few roving mics, so we might need to pass it on. Who wants to start?
Hello. Okay, my mic. Shall I start?
Yeah.
Hi guys, my name is Bernicia Boateng, and I am a makeup artist, celebrity makeup artist. I run my own academy, and I'm just trying to move and shake in this industry, honey. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Cherelle Lazarus and I am senior makeup artist for NARS Cosmetics and I've been doing makeup for 18 years now, so a very long time. Lovely to meet you all.
Hello. Is this on?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hi guys, my name is Yvonne Victoria. I am a fashion, beauty and lifestyle content creator. I've been doing this for I've had my accounts for like 8 years, but I've been doing this full time for coming on to 3 years now. So yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Adeola Gboyega. I'm a makeup artist and content creator. Been in the beauty industry for over 10 years now, but this is incredible. So yeah, I'm so excited.
Hey guys, I'm Yasmin. I'm also a content creator. I feel like I've just loved makeup and fell into this. So yeah, long time makeup lover and happy to be here.
Yay. So the way this talk is going to go, because I know you guys have been sitting down for a long time, we're going to chop it up for about half an hour. Every question is for every panelist, and then we're going to give the mic to you guys to ask some questions. So I don't know if you want to think about those first and foremost. But guys, this question is for all of you. How did you get into makeup professionally?
Should I go first? Okay. So I started my journey in makeup. For as long as I can remember, I've loved everything to do with beauty. This is like going all the way back to, I want to say like 12 years old. My mum's always been, I always call her like a glamour puss. That's like my little nickname for my mum. My mum was that African auntie with the loud eyeshadow, with the crazy lipstick, but nothing made me love makeup more than just how much it made her feel. I'd watch my mum in the morning, she'd work so hard, but when a Saturday came, she'd sit downstairs, open her makeup and start doing her glam. It made her feel and look beautiful, and I became addicted to it. I would like sit down and watch my mum do her makeup. When I started makeup initially, I was working at MAC Cosmetics. I got my first job at MAC as a Christmas temp. This is like, I want to say 14 years ago. And it changed my life. It really introduced me to making women feel beautiful using these products, increasing their confidence, and especially for black women, as we know, dark skin makeup hasn't always been available. I was a Dream Matte Mousse girl, using shades, maybe 5 shades lighter than myself, but I will manage it like that because I need the glam. So I say all of that to say like that's where my makeup journey started, but it really elevated as I got a little bit older and became more confident in how it made people look and understanding that this is the only lane for me. My parents weren't happy about it. So there was a short time, as Cherelle remembers, I stopped doing makeup altogether because my mum was like, how are you going to build a life off makeup? I came from Ghana for this. No. You need to go do doctor, lawyer, whatever have you. So I did the whole corporate world thing for a little bit, but then I always knew in my heart I wanted to do makeup. So I got back into it and then just decided no matter what, I'm going to make this dream a reality. And just a lot of manifestation, a lot of hard consistency, not listening to the word no, because it doesn't exist, and pushing those barriers. So yeah, that's how I started my career.
Amazing. So my story's a little bit different. I started off actually studying fine art and graphic design, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it after. I was like, do I want to start selling like my own shows and my, my work? And I just wasn't ready for that yet. So I met a guy. He's my husband now, guys. And he said to me, why don't you do something like makeup? It's creative, take like a year out. And I was like, oh, really? Anyway, long story short, he paid for my first makeup course.
Sorry. And some people want to go halves at dinner. Sorry.
Yes, you paid for my first makeup course just to see how I felt about it. And I fell in love with it from that moment. And then I studied for about 3.5 years because I wanted to learn the business side of it as well in case I wanted to open my own business one day. And yeah, the rest was kind of like history. I've worked for many brands, but my ultimate brand to work for was NARS. For me, representation is a massive thing for me. And I did the brands that didn't do my foundation, and I worked and I lied to people, I'm going to be honest, and said, oh yeah, I'm wearing this foundation, which it wasn't. And I just got sick one day, you know, just like, do you know what, I don't want to do this no more. I want to work for a brand that represents me and people like me. So NARS for me was one of the ultimate brands to work for. And as we know, I mean, I started off, I was a sleek girl. I was an Oman girl. I used to like save up my pennies and go into packs. Yes, fashion fair, yes, exactly. Because that was the only product that was out there, you know, for our skin complexions at that time. But that's kind of how I got into makeup, and I'm still here, guys, because I love it, and I love inspiring as well.
Love it.
My journey started very, very young. I think I was 15 when I started properly like playing with makeup and using makeup. And similar to Bernicia, my mum is like, I get everything from her. Like, she's the hair lady, she likes her outfits, like everything. She just always likes to look on point. So I would always kind of like be desperate to just, oh my God, when am I going to be allowed to wear makeup? When am I going to be allowed to wear makeup? So when I got to like 15, I think I was doing this, this kind of like pageant thing in South London with some of my like family friends. And that was kind of like the way that I entered makeup, because I had to wear makeup for that. And then after that, I just didn't stop. There was no stopping me. She couldn't say anything then. So Dream Matte Mousse, yeah, I feel like we all used the shade Chocolate. That was literally the only shade for us. And I kind of fell into it because I was always taking pictures. I grew up in a household where I don't know if you guys know, you know those film pictures that are like back now that everyone prints out? I have like bags and bags and bags full of those in my household. So I was always around like people taking pictures. So I got that from them, and I would always take pictures. And then people started asking me, oh my God, like what are you using? And it kind of started from there. And back then, I didn't realize I was making shades work for me because I just thought this was how life was supposed to be. I didn't know that we didn't actually have shades that were supposed to be our correct shade. Because I was always used to, you know, mixing things and just trying different things. But yeah, that's kind of how I fell into it, and I absolutely adore it. I mean, who doesn't like to look good?
Okay, where do I start? So I went in a different route completely. I went to university, studied media and communications, thinking that I'd go into beauty in some capacity because I always loved beauty. But then when I actually graduated from university, I thought, do you know what, I'm actually going to follow my passion, because I think it's so important that you do something that you love. And I never really felt like what I learned when I was at university. I mean, who here still does what they did at uni? I don't. So for me, it was so important that I did something that I was very, very passionate about. So I retrained as a makeup artist afterwards. And that's why this is really important, because for me, there was no representation of like an everyday person as a makeup artist. I never met anyone that worked in the beauty industry. All I ever knew was like the real makeup artists, like the Pat McGraths, the Sam Fines, the Rennie Vasquez. Those people that you would see online or, you know, on TV, but I never ever felt that it was a career. So when I graduated university, I thought, let me go and study. I retrained as a makeup artist, and I actually started working on skincare counters. And I remember there was one day that a lady came up to me and she said, oh, your makeup's amazing. Like, who did it? I said, oh, I did it myself. And she's like, oh, but what brand is it that you're using? And no word of a lie, I couldn't tell her it was the brand that I was working for, because I didn't have any foundation shades in my skin tone. And I vowed to myself ever since then that I would never work for a beauty brand that didn't represent me or include me. And that was very, very important, because I didn't feel that, you know, I'll be working for a brand as an ambassador, but they're not obviously representing me. And then from there, you know, I've been in the industry, I've worked for some incredible brands, but I think for me, the real reason was that I just love the way that makeup makes me feel. And I really wanted to be like an expert in the industry so I could, you know, teach other people, especially women of color, how to be their own makeup expert. It's expensive to always get a makeup artist, but if you're able to do your makeup yourself, that's really inspiring. So that was the reason why I went into beauty, to teach others to become their own makeup expert.
My journey was a little bit different. Growing up, I've always really loved makeup, and as everyone has said, like my mum really enjoyed like putting on makeup, looking good, and I would always look up to her, and like whatever she did, I did. I was kind of a copycat. But yeah, like growing up, I would see her apply it, and I even remember like memories from primary school where I would like steal her pressed foundation and like apply it, and then my say like, "You look different," and I'd be like, "No, I look the same." But yeah, I just remember those memories when I was younger, like really enjoying the application of putting on makeup. But yeah, I had a corporate career, worked there for 3 years. But after work, I would just apply makeup for fun, because for me, makeup is like my therapy. Prepping my skin, applying foundation, like that whole process, although it's like an hour and a bit, it's therapy for me. So one day I thought, I might as well just like film this, post it on TikTok, see what happens. And it has happened. So 6 months later, I feel like now I'm doing this professionally, although it doesn't feel like something drastic has happened. It was just like a progressive thing where I was like sharing it with other people, and I'll get a few comments here and there asking for like an eyeliner tutorial, and I'm like, one person asked, and I'm like gonna post it. But yeah, I feel like for me, it's also about the representation of showing people the products I like, brands that they can buy it for, making products that work for you as well. Because I know the struggle of going into the drugstore and like not being able to find anything that works for you, or like even like a simple brown lip liner turning up like 3 shades lighter on your skin. But yeah, it was just progressive journey for me.
I love that, guys. Thank you. Of course, I'm not a makeup artist, but my mum used to work for Fashion Fair back in the day. And so and I had horrendous acne. Like, there are no images of me between the ages of 11 to 15, because I was like, get that camera out of my face, child. I'm not looking back on this. And my mum is a lot lighter than me, and I started out by wearing her foundation and the ghetto, and then I found the MAC counter, which I feel like so much was, and I used to buy lip gloss when the lip gloss will come out the edge of the container and go everywhere. Even before that though, it was the £1 lip gloss from the hair shop. And then, you know, they used to sell the little quads with the blue, and you'd be digging out the whole thing to get the shade you see in there on your eye. That's where I was. Now, I've learned so much. Your demonstration earlier, guys, give it up for their demonstration, actually. Because, child, I just put on the foundation and go, you know. And then when you lot were like sculpt and bronzer, I said, rah, I need to up my game, because, no, honestly, I just felt so ashamed. But anyway, guys, let's move on. What are your favorite makeup brands and products?
Ooh, this is a hard one. I have so many. Some of my favorite makeup brands would have to be MAC, NARS. There's just so many. I would say, like, if I was doing top 3, I think MAC, NARS. I love Tom Ford eyeshadows. I worked at Tom Ford for a long time. I was a part of the Tom Ford family for years, so their primers are incredible, but they are very expensive. But yeah, those 3 are definitely my go-tos.
Okay.
I think mine has to be quite similar. Like I already said to you guys, obviously, NARS was my ultimate brand to work for, so that's definitely one of my top 3. And then it has to be... I was obsessed with Iman when I was younger, obviously being one of the first supermodels, so I loved her stuff and her bases. And then the third one has to be the mother, Pat McGrath. It has to be. Do you know what I mean? Because her colours and everything that she's brought is absolutely amazing, and I absolutely adore her as well.
There's so many now for us. I feel like I love Fenty Beauty. I love Fenty Beauty. Her lip glosses, her matchsticks, the concealer sticks. I love NARS, I love MAC. But I also really enjoy using Too Faced and Benefit. A new fave is like Charlotte Tilbury, because she's finally started, you know, expanding the shades. And obviously Pat McGrath, like, I love her eyeshadow palettes. They're phenomenal. And they work on every skin tone.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely has to be the Queen, Mother, Pat McGrath. I was lucky to work with her for 2 years, which was incredible to learn her artistry and her craft, and she's the most influential makeup artist in the world. NARS I love. I feel like their blushes are phenomenal, and the foundation Soft Matte Complete is incredible. And I also love Bobbi Brown as well. I really love how she was one of the pioneers for making sure that makeup was accessible, but also as well was really working to ensure that everything was inclusive. MAC. But the drugstore ranges, I feel, are really kind of coming up in the range as well. So like Maybelline's amazing, and also L'Oreal. Their Infallible Foundation's beautiful. So yeah.
I'm going to try to find a brand that hasn't been said. I'll probably say Huda Beauty. I really love like their stick foundations. I go through like many sticks. I would also say Lancome. Like that's my go-to concealers, amazing foundations as well. But yeah, like everyone has said, there's so many amazing brands that have come up or have been here for a while. NARS as well. But yeah, I can't really add any more.
Yeah, one of my favorites, I'm going to butcher the name, guys, and I'm married to a Nigerian man, so I should really feel shame on myself. But is it Uwoma Beauty?
Yeah, they're incredible.
Oh my gosh, especially like if you've got darker skin as a black woman, I find their products to just be the baddest and the best. This isn't a question that was listed. Sorry, guys, I told you I was going to go off script. What do you guys think of the Fenty effect? Because in my opinion, I'm Bajan. I'm going to ride all day. We were having this discussion upstairs.
We've been talking.
But I wasn't really comfortable with the suggestion that she was the first to do shades for us. I was like, there's been a bit of a spin PR-wise there, honey, because we've been making it do what it do. This isn't to say that the foundation's not incredible. It's like my number 1 or 2, depending on the weather. But what were all your reactions to the Fenty effect?
I would say, like, Fenty is incredible. Like I was saying to you upstairs, Fenty is definitely one of my favorite brands. I forgot to mention loads of my favorite brands, so sorry, I was a bit under pressure. Cool. Fenty is one of my favorite brands. She definitely wasn't the first person to make darker skin makeup, but she applied a pressure on this industry that forced the industry to change.
Yeah.
And that for me is she moved mountains. One thing I'd say is MAC we've always been able to get our shade at MAC. And one thing I loved about MAC is they didn't kick and scream about it, because to them it was standard. Everyone should have their shade, and I love and respect them for that. But what Rihanna did is see that no one is kicking and screaming about it. So she came, she said, here's 40 shades, let's see who else wants to chat to me. And it made every single brand include us. We suddenly felt seen, we suddenly felt loved, and it's like the whole world saw what inclusivity can do. We were all, I don't know about you, I worked in Harvey Nicholson, I still did the queue, just for the vibes. But like, it was just so exciting. We knew there was gonna be over 20 shades for us. And not only did they do shades, they considered undertones. You know, there are a lot of brands that do dark shades, but not every brand understands, not everyone's red or yellow. Not everyone's red or yellow, there's other undertones. She considered that, so it made me feel seen. So for me, she did amazing for that. And I love the fact that she did kick and scream and make sure that, you know, every other brand felt a bit shaken. They were like, okay, we need to start working on the range.
And you know
and
what?
then the next 2-3 months later, every brand was like, we've got 95 shades.
And you know what?
And I love that. I'm happy you got 95 shades.
I think people need to remember that beauty is a business. And without black women, I'm sorry to tell you, the business will be on its knees. We really show up and show out when it comes to putting the money in the till. And I think what other businesses saw, because this is the most important thing, we can kick and scream all we want. Unless those big conglomerates see that that change is profitable, they're not going to see it through. And what Fenty showed is it's going to make the till ring. So that's why 3 months, and I'm like, you did not come up with all these shades in 3 months. You just had them lounging out the back. And now you see that it's going to make the till ring. Oh, here, like he said, 95 shades. And I'm like,
95.
it shouldn't take that,
108.
though.
It's fine.
Anyone else got anything to say about it?
Yeah, I agree. And I think as well, it was all about the representation of having a black woman at the forefront, having the conversation. Because I'll be on the shop floor when I used to work on counter, and, you know, I would have women that were my skin tone that would wait to obviously see me because they would feel that they were seen more and they were understood. You know, on average, black people spend way more, like 5 times more than their counterparts on makeup. But that's because whenever they go into store, they're being shown products that are not the right shade. You know, they're being given the wrong foundation shade. So it's so important to have the representation, because when you go into store and you see someone that looks like you, you're going to be like, oh, they're going to understand me. There's like an unspoken conversation that even happens before you get onto the to the conversation. So I think that's the biggest thing. Like, Rihanna was at the forefront. And the thing is, where I feel like a lot of brands beforehand really kind of missed the mark was that there wasn't that spokesperson that looked like us at the forefront. You know, Bobbi Brown was amazing, but she's not black. MAC was an amazing brand, but they didn't have anyone at the forefront that was like, look at all these shades. And then you'll go in, then all you will see is 50 Shades of Beige. All the foundations that were for black people are at the back, collecting dust.
And I would say, when I would go to the MAC counter, it was always the black makeup artist that had the biggest queue.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
and everyone wanted to speak to
Yeah.
the black makeup artist. So I think that
Absolutely.
showed as well.
And then in the boardrooms, when you're making the decisions, that's another big thing. There isn't someone that looks like me, you, or Rihanna that are making the decisions. I used to get so frustrated when brands would come to me and be like, Adeola, what do you think of this blusher? And I'm like, you've gone through how many hoops and loops to get to me, and you're talking me up the final stage. You're not telling me at the beginning when I could have given you all the information, because I'm dealing with customers every single day and I understand their frustrations. So yeah.
And another thing to add to that is, like, because we've waited so long for this moment to be included and to be represented, Yvonne said it. Yvonne was like, she would be mixing and blending without even realizing that she's basically developing her own makeup, essentially. We've done this for so long that if anybody understands how to create an amazing product for black skin, it's black women. Because we've been, before the last, sorry, thank you, before the last 10, 15 years, like, I cannot imagine, like, when I look at my mum's pictures from the 80s, I'm like, sis, let me get this on my phone so I can face tune it so you look black again, because you was doing up grey. And she did the best that she could. And I honestly look at those pictures and it makes me sad, because I'm like, wow, it just wasn't available. Because they're not mad. They were not choosing the wrong colour. They were make and do with what they had. So we are so blessed that we live in a time where the change is happening.
Yeah.
But we need to push it even more. And like you said, we need to collaborate. Those collaborations between, like, if we all sit up here and we do videos together, we try and build products together, we show, what our favorite techniques are, we're putting pressure on this industry to be seen, to be recognized, and to be included a little bit before the product's already made. Because now the color's wrong, what are we going to do? We're going to start again? No.
And I think collaboration will hopefully lead to what is one of the most important things, and I know it makes people really uncomfortable. It's money. Black women need your money. In order to establish our own brands and be our own cosmetologists, we need to see people investing in us. The way they invest in the old Pale and Stell, who are just doing the same old thing all the time. No, it's true. I think VC funding, like, only 1% of that money goes to black female investors. In the 1% of VC money. So now, that's not even putting it in columns. So what about beauty? Black women that are trying to make their own beauty brands, how are they raising funding so they can get their brands seen and compete with the big guns of the industry? That's always the question. So if there's someone in here with some billionaire kind of funds and you want to share, talk to me outside, This is a question for everyone. How do you accurately work out what your undertone is when it comes to choosing foundation?
Oh, okay. Okay. Undertone is something that I feel like we've kind of been fed that your undertone is either red or it's yellow or it's warm or it's what's the other one? It's warm or it's cool.
Cool.
Right? But for me, when it comes to deciding the right shade, we're all dark-skinned women up here on this stage, but we all have a different tone. I always like to start with 3 foundations that look similar to me, and I just go 1, 2, 3. Whichever one disappears on my skin or is the least detectable is my shade, right? Someone can look a similar skin tone to you, but they could be 2 shades up, or they could be 2 shades darker. So try not to look at someone to kind of say like, oh, you look about my shade, I'm gonna get that foundation. Go on counter, really do go on counter, try foundations on, step outside of the store with a mirror and look at your skin. Try and look at your skin in daylight, because that's how you will be seen in real life. Like sometimes you go onto the Selfridges counter, the lighting is beautiful. You literally look like a queen, right? And then you get outside and you're like, okay, £40 and it's not giving match. It's giving completely wrong. You don't want that. So I would say color matching and understanding your undertone is more so about looking at yourself and identifying what your skin tone is. try not to have a warped vision of what you want your skin to look like. I went through a stage when I was a little bit younger. I just wanted to be fairer. I was just like, I'm so dark. What's going on? I want to be lighter. What's going on? But when I started to realize that my skin is beautiful, like my skin is amazing, this is the skin that God gave me, and embracing it, I learned that makeup is less about transforming myself and more about enhancing myself. So your makeup should always enhance you.
I mean, I feel like you said it all. We had this conversation a little bit as well about undertones and stuff earlier. For me, I think don't obsess so much over undertone. It's kind of what you feel good in, which is really important. For me, I always thought I was a yellow undertone. I was always told, you're yellow, you're yellow, you're yellow. And actually, sometimes working against that colour can have a better finish on your skin. So I tend to look at my veins. My veins are very blue. So actually, I'm cool. I'm not actually yellow. So whoever told me that over the years, it was wrong. So I like to go more so for a neutral undertone. And a lot of people think that, you know, black skin can't be cool. It can't have blue undertones. But there is many of us that do have blue undertones. So I prefer to go for something a little bit neutral in the middle. So it's not too yellow and it's not too blue. So I don't look too obviously cool. And, you know, I hate the term ashy, but that's what it is. We don't want to look like that. And if anything, if I can't get a neutral undertone, I do like to go a little bit warmer. But please don't obsess. There are so many different undertones. If you guys, I mean, I've had the opportunity to actually make my own foundation. And the amount of colours that go into it to make my shade is crazy. There's pink, there's yellow, there's green, do you know what I mean? So it's not just one. And what I find as well with deeper skin or black women in general is that we're not just one undertone, okay? We're a mix of all different. I don't know if anyone remembers the brand Prescriptives. Oh my God, they used to make your own like foundation, which was amazing. And you'll see all these colors they used to put in like a bottle, and I was just amazed that, oh my God, I'm all those different tones. So exactly how we kind of match at NARS is by doing the 3 and then kind of blending in the colors and seeing which one disappears into your skin. And that is where you're gonna have the most skin-like finish. Like I said before, foundation should look like you. It should enhance your own beauty.
Following on from that, I don't obsess over undertone either, because I feel like I spent so many years making things work for me that I can use a foundation with a red undertone or a cool undertone and know how to make that work and bring that all back to life by the end with like the shade of bronzer I use or how light or warm or cool I want to go with my concealer, my highlights, my contour, all those type of things. So I do know I'm kind of like on the golden, warmer, neutral side of things, but even that I take with a pinch of salt, because at one brand, let's say MAC, for example, they'll tell me, okay, you're gold, you've got a golden undertone, but then I'll go to a YSL Beauty sort of foundation and it's like, okay, I'm neutral in this brand. So I don't think it's one rule for all. I think still with undertones, it's so relative to the individual that across each brand, you're not going to be the same undertone across each brand. So I think once you know that and you have kind of like your cult favorites, it's not going to be as hard. And I feel like I went through this stage where I was genuinely using makeup to just cover like my whole face, and I would do the harshest of contours, the brightest of highlights, the boldest, longest lashes. And I look back and I'm like, oh my God, no one told me. Number one, and it's just like I was looking back at the pictures yesterday and I just cannot believe I went so many years doing that. But that's the beauty of like makeup. There's no rules and you can make your mistakes and look back and laugh and troll yourself and things. So yeah, like I wouldn't obsess too much over undertone, like just work with what works for you, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone's given really valid points. I think for me, the swatching process, the testing process is the most important thing. So, you know, after working backstage at Fashion Week, one of the things that I learned from Pat a lot is that she wouldn't just match on the face, she would match on your chest. She would match, like she would look at all parts. She would even look at your kneecaps as well, because she would really want to make sure that the foundation would match you in every capacity. And that's really, really important. So I think foundation is a very personal thing. when I would be on counter and I'd be matching my clients, I would ask them whenever I'd give them my opinion at the end, how does it make you feel? Because that's the most important thing. Do you feel confident in it? I don't want to tell someone that's the right foundation for you, but then you go home and then you think, it's not the right shade, it's not what I would choose. You're going to be the one that's going to be wearing it all day. You have to feel confident in it. So making sure that you swatch the foundations on your forehead is very important, because naturally you have the most warmth there because of the sun naturally hitting your face. That's very important. A lot of us tend to have a lot of brightness under our eyes, so I would say match your foundation all over completely, and then you can go back in and add that brightness with your concealer, as opposed to going with a foundation that's too light. And also your jawline and your chest, a lot of people like miss those areas. It's very important. So just do like a comprehensive match with your foundation, and don't be afraid to get samples. You know, even when that person says to you, oh, we don't do some sample pots, go to Boots, buy your sample pots and go back and get your testers. Feel confident. Don't be ashamed, because you want to be able to make sure that you've got the right shade for you. You're not going to go home and then feel like you've got the wrong shade. It's very important to get samples, try it at home, wear it with the other concealers that you have. It's also very important as well. So I think make sure that it's something that you feel confident as well. And don't be afraid to have more than one shade, one for winter and also one for summer as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like the best thing you can do is like test at least a couple of foundations, see how they work for you. I know personally as a hijabi, my neck is not the same color as my face. So like my neck is quite a lot lighter because of the sun and stuff. So I can't really be testing the same shades as like other places that are covered. So definitely testing multiple different foundations work for me. I know there's some websites that do like wheels where it says if you're this shade in this brand, you could be this shade. But yeah, I would never say commit straight up because different lightings and everything like that. But yeah, trial and testing works for me.
I would say, clap, 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 sorry guys. Also, as a mum, I changed tones with pregnancy. And that's something that, I heard a yes, amen, child. And that's something that, again, you know, you hear about all the bodily changes that women go through when they're pregnant, but I didn't expect like my skin, not just my skin tone to change in terms of the foundation I need to choose, but also my makeup routine would have to change. I never had the 90 minutes as a teen anyway, because I didn't care enough. But then when kids entered the chat, when you two were doing the demonstration and you were like, oh, 20 minutes, I was like, yeah, 20 minutes is my max. Like, we got to be in, out, shake it all about. So there are those things to consider as well. Your lifestyle, having children, how that may play with your skin tone. And don't be ashamed to like put an old foundation away or down. You don't need to cling to a certain tone till you die. Things can change, so don't worry about that. Now, sometimes, don't let me start, because you know I've always got a story, yeah? But let me tell you, the foundation they put on my dad in his coffin, I squealed. I was like, child, and the lighting in Chapel of Rest is already harsh. I said, you ain't gonna do the man like that. Like, it's terrible. Anyway, does makeup sit better on some faces more than others, or is it just down to products / application? Anyone can take this question.
I would say, can you repeat it, please?
So, does makeup, and this is a question that leans into some people that I would say they'd sit there and say, but makeup doesn't suit me. So does makeup sit better on some faces more than others, or is it just down to products and application?
It's down to products and application. Makeup looks beautiful on everyone, and makeup is for everyone. Like I said, like I've said it so many times, it's really about seeing you and not trying to, I've had clients that look like me come to me with a Kim Kardashian picture. It's not going to happen. And if I try to make it happen, they'll arrest me. It's crazy. It's not going to happen. But what I will say is, me and Cherelle, when Cherelle's doing my makeup, we were talking about skincare, right? It's not that makeup doesn't suit you. What are you putting on your skin before makeup? Are you hydrating your skin? Some people say, oh, the makeup doesn't sit well on my skin. Makeup will sit well on your skin if you prep your skin properly for your skin type, right? So if you're using the right primer, if you're oily like me, and you're using an luminous primer because it's telling you you're going to get a glow, that glow might be too much and you look really shiny, and then you'll be like, no, makeup makes me look shiny. No, you're just using the wrong products to prep your skin. So if you've got oily skin, maybe go for a more mattifying primer. Use a moisturizer that isn't so water-based or something like that. Like if you kind of use the right products to prepare your skin, use the right products for your skin. When you're setting your skin, you're using really good powders, fine powders, as opposed to luminous powders. You might see a difference in the finish of your makeup. So, but I 100% don't agree that makeup doesn't suit everyone. It's like saying, does clothes suit everyone? Everyone finds something that suits them. Like, it's just like that. And also remember, give room that a trend that's on right now, you don't have to follow the trend. If you don't want to do, like, I don't know, what's a trend like from 10 years ago? Cut crease. It never suited me. I looked mad with a cut crease. But I'd be like, oh, a cut crease. I don't have to follow the trend. Understand that makeup is enhancing, and it's really about creating something that suits you, essentially.
I totally agree. Can you just repeat the question again, Candice? Sorry.
So, you know, there are some people who'll be like, oh, makeup just doesn't suit me. Is it that it doesn't suit them, or is it down to the products and the way they apply it?
I think just even going back to like the demonstration that we've just done, it depends on your skin type, and you need to know what your skin type is. I think that's really important. So even if it's like going to a dermatologist and finding out, you know, what your skin looks like underneath the lens, which is really important, and then you'll be able to kind of choose the right, you know, moisturizers. Do you need to use a serum? Do you need to use the retinol cream that you were sold? Whatever it may be, because not all our skin needs all of that. Like, I like to keep it super simple, a little bit of moisturizer, and even though I've got eczema, I've got hyperpigmentation, I've got eczema as well. I have so many different problems, but with my skin that I don't love, but I found products that actually work for my skin. Now, if I was to use something totally different or something that maybe one of my friends use, it wouldn't suit my skin. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't look as good on me as it does on her, for instance. So it's all about kind of tailor-making your makeup regime, and don't just buy into, like Bernicia just said, you know, trends or, you know, the new best thing, because it may not suit you. Obviously, go and try it for sure, do you know what I mean, and see if it works for you. But don't just stick to like the one thing that you continuously see, because it's not going to be the same for everybody. You really kind of need to think about what works for you. Do you know what I mean? But I definitely think, because I've worked with a lot of textured skin, and not every makeup is going to suit that. Do you know what I mean? Textured skin, you have to apply it in a certain way. Same for even mature skin. Do you know what I mean? I would apply products in a total different ways, and I wouldn't maybe like use a primer or mattifying primer. I would use more moisturizing products. So it's all about really just mixing up everything you do with your base products and just finding what works for you.
We don't all have to answer the question, so don't feel pressured. Adeola, do you want to say something or no?
Yeah, I think just to echo on everyone's like points about finding what works for you and becoming your own expert. I think a lot of times we put the power in whoever it is that's serving us. For example, going to the counter, and then if you have a bad experience, that can really affect how you feel. Like, for example, just because your friend is NC50 in a foundation doesn't mean that you are NC50 in a foundation. Like, be able to kind of create your own understanding of what it is that you want. And to your point, Candice, like making sure that it suits your lifestyle. Like, if you're not going to do that full beat, don't feel like you have to. Like, a lot of my clients just love a bit of concealer, and that's all they need, and they look amazing. And that's what works for them. They're not going to use a full foundation that's full coverage. And if I try to push that on them, they're going to then feel like, oh, makeup is just too out of my comfort zone. I don't feel comfortable. Like, makeup should make you feel comfortable. That's the most important thing.
I feel like everything has been said, but what I would add is the skin prep is so important. I remember I used to do my skincare in the morning. 6 hours later, I start my makeup and be like, why is my skin so dry? But you have to do the skin prep, apply moisturizer again, do the primers, everything like that. But sometimes some primers don't work, but that's a story for another day. But yeah, I would just say skin prep is so important, and don't compare how your makeup looks to someone that is completely different to you, because it's a journey, it's a process. I know it's taken me like a couple of years to find out what looks good on me. I didn't know that when I was 15, doing a lot. But yeah, it's a journey, and everyone will figure it out eventually.
I agree with that last statement. Can you believe there was a time that I used to wear a nude lip? Child, I look back at the pictures and I'm like, who is that? And that was because also, remember there was a conversation by a rapper, I'll say no names, about someone's baby daddy, who was like, oh, red lipstick don't suit dark-skinned girls. That was like a big conversation. And then I took that, like I internalized that, even though I'd been wearing red lipstick for years. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, should I not be wearing red lipstick? So then I tried to be a nude lip girly. And like, it even affected the way I interacted with people because I felt like I didn't look myself. Like I was very subdued in my mannerisms or like wouldn't speak up a lot because I was literally wearing the mask of someone else. And I think you can feel that when you're trying to like pattern someone else's makeup way or do what they do. You really have to be comfortable in yourself and again, ignore trends. And that may mean at times going against the grain. Yes, for whatever reason, dark-skinned women have always been encouraged to stay away from brighter colors, especially when it comes to lip. I'm going to the grave with that red lip, child. I don't know. And you need to get comfortable in doing what works for you. Because what's so funny is, as much as the atmosphere would say dark-skinned women shouldn't wear red lip, the first thing dark-skinned women compliment me on is my red lip. And I think it's because it's clear that I enjoy wearing it. And you see that come through any kind of face beat. So that would always be my advice. Anyway, final question before we give a mic to you lovely people. Why do you think in 2022 women with darker complexions still struggle to find products that match? Okay.
I was speaking to Cherelle earlier, and I was like, we were going through the questions, and when that question came up, I genuinely found it hard to answer. I said to Cherelle, like, I don't actually know, because things have changed so much, and we are definitely a part of the conversation now, and we are more considered than we were before. But if there's one thing I'll say, is that, are we fully considered? Sometimes it feels like, are we there just to tick a box? Without pointing any fingers, there are times that I go to a counter, and they've got loads of dark shades. The undertone is completely wrong, and in my opinion, doesn't even suit anyone black. Like, it's purple. It's given purple. It's given corpse. But it's like, I don't know why that is. And I find it so hard to answer this question because it's like, clearly the effort's being made. But one thing I will say is, like Adeola said earlier, we need more people in the labs that look like us. Because the change starts from the very beginning of making this colour. As a dark-skinned woman who's worked in beauty for approaching 15 years, most of my life I've been trying to find the right shade. And it's sad that in 2022, the journey continues. As Nipsey would say, the marathon continues. And yes, it's sad, but there is a change happening and we have to appreciate that. But we're not fully there yet. So there will be brands such as NARS that do our shade and do it beautifully. I wear NARS with so much pride because I feel beautiful in my foundation. And then there's other brands that are incredible as well, and I see what they do for women of other shades. But for me, I've never been able to find the right shade with them. So yeah, I guess we're still on this journey, and we should appreciate the fact that we've come so far, but understand and give room for the fact that there will be more changes that need to be made.
Do you know what? Before the esteemed panel continues, I also want to add, I'm sorry to be like a Debbie Downer or the elephant in the room, colorism has so much to do with this conversation. Because I watch multiple makeup videos online, specifically when I'm watching these gorgeous, glamorous girls, say in West Africa, who specifically, they'll be my complexion, and they will wear the Kim K foundation. Now, I know you're not going to get the perfect match, but to always go for what completely doesn't suit you has to be rooted in something else. And I think the beauty industry needs to take greater strides towards not just providing our tone, but promoting it.
100%. Just to add on to what I said and what you're saying, understand and have peace with going where you're celebrated. Just understand that, and that goes for the people in your lives. That goes for the relationships that you get into. That goes for the beauty brands, the clothes that you wear. Go where you're celebrated, and you'll find... Thank you. You'll find so much peace in that, because I appreciate the brands that appreciate me. I think Cherelle said, no, sorry, Adeola said it. She was like, I might be quoting you wrong, sis, but something like, you know, she couldn't boldly say, there was a brand she worked for, and she couldn't confidently say that she was using their products, because actually they didn't even have her shade. But we're pouring money into your counters. Like, I would sit there, and I'm naturally a salesperson. That's how I feel like I've navigated my whole career, is just being able to sell myself very, very well. You stand on that counter, and there's some days that I'd sell over 100 foundations. You know how much money I'm making for you as a brand? You didn't even think of my shade. I don't matter. You just erased me with a rubber. And it just goes down to going where you're celebrated. We need to learn and love the brands that love us, and that's just it. And also, we need to start looking into black brands as well, because there are so many amazing black brands. And I speak for myself. I need to make a bigger effort in that. I need to start putting more black-owned brands in my kit, because that's where we're actually really, really celebrated. And then we have amazing corporations and massive brands like NARS, MAC, Fenty, who are also celebrating us. And let's try and like continue using them.
Can I be really honest? For me, I just feel like not enough is still being done, if I'm totally honest. It bugs me probably every day of my life, and because I've been in the beauty industry for 18 years now, and I'm still struggling to find brands, especially luxury brands as well. It's almost like they think we don't buy luxury. Like, hello? Like, do you know what I mean? We love a bit of luxury, and I think it also starts from the brands, but also from our education, like makeup artists that are coming up now and learning. For instance, in NARS, we have a diversity task force. I was the first one. I was like, I need to be part of this team, because it's all about education as well. And if we're not educating, we're not going to get anywhere. Do you know what I mean? So we need to have the people in place that look like us, that's going to be able to obviously bring forward the colours that we need and the products that we need. So I'm always championing, obviously, deeper skin, because I just refuse now to work for a brand that I don't see myself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I shouldn't have to wear shades that don't suit me. And yeah, I think education's a massive thing. And that starts from the beginning. Do you know what I mean? But it still frustrates me up to this day, if I'm honest. Every time I hear like, a question along this line, it's almost like, but why? Do you know what I mean? We both like standing up there like, but why is this still happening? When I think it was like, and this was just in the US, from January to April this year, 2.2 billion sales were made through hair and beauty through black women.
Easy.
Like, do you know what I mean? And that's not even a full year. Like, we spend our money, but if those products aren't out there for us to buy, you're not going to see anything. You're not going to see that demographic come up. You're not going to see, obviously, the sales come up, because you're not even showcasing us. Do you know what I mean? Giving us an opportunity to be able to buy these amazing products, because we like to look good. Do you know what I mean? No, but we have to carry ourselves in a certain way. Do you know what I mean? Like, I won't be seen, same with you, like going out, how I was brought up, even going to the shops without having a little something on, just in case I see somebody. My mum always used to say that to me. You don't know who you're going to see out the street, Make sure you look good. So for me, I always carry myself in a certain way. And sometimes people are like, oh, my God, like, are you going somewhere? And I'm like, no, but from the moment that I have to face the world, I'm going to look a certain way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do definitely think we're nowhere near, if I'm totally honest. And I'm not going to pretend and say that we are. I think going back even to Fenty, like when she brought out all her shades, and I love Rihanna so much, it wasn't just the shades. It was that she was showcasing diversity-wise, people in wheelchairs. She was like, people that wear like, hip jabs. Everybody, she included everybody, men, women. And that also is diversity. Do you know what I mean? It's just not just our race and our colour. So I think marketing-wise, that's why it's done so well as well. And I have to take my hats off to her, because a lot of brands did start doing it, but I was still frustrated because a lot of them done three shades and thought, let's just go a little bit into the spectrum and see what happens.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't fully devote.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that really still really grinds me a little bit. But there's big brands, not gonna say any names, that still I just want to buy into their brands. Like, I just won't spend my money on those brands. Even though they might do products like lip products or cheap products or eye products that I love, I refuse to buy from them if I don't see myself across the whole spectrum of their range.
Love that.
I think the reason why a lot of like dark-skinned women can't find their shades till this day is very complex, and a lot of the topics have been touched on, and one of them being like, I feel like we've all grown up and we can tell the brands that are being honest when it comes to their, I have to word this very, very carefully. We can tell which brands are being honest and we can tell which brands are being dishonest. And I think when it comes to releasing products that will suit this community here in this room, I think there are a lot of brands that do it just to tick a box. And I feel as though even if that brand is to do it to tick a box, it's not promoted.
Yeah.
So they've done it to tick the box. So, okay, if they want it, it's there. But it's like, when you actually look at the campaign imagery and what they're plastering across the shops, you wouldn't even know that they're doing it. And I think another thing is we get so bogged down on foundation shade, foundation shade, foundation shade. But there's so much more about makeup that we cannot use. Like look at liquid blush, for example. Liquid blush that isn't going to appear oily on the skin. There's so much liquid blushes that are just sheer. Like I can put on plenty liquid blushes and it's just not, you're not going to see any pigment whatsoever. And what about if we don't want to use foundation? What if we want to be a tinted moisturizer girly? Or we want to, like, that doesn't exist. I still don't have a tinted moisturizer that I've found. And I get a lot of brands sent to me. There's so many things. And it's like, even when you look at concealer shades, and yes, we've come a long way, but you'll find that sometimes brands will check the box of, okay, there's shades in the foundation department, but when it comes to the concealer department, don't even get me started on powders. We are still such a long way when it comes to powders, because I have friends that are darker than me, and one, we were traveling a lot last year, and like we were using each other's makeup, and I was like, oh my God, like what do you use? There's nothing here that I can give to you to use, because I can just about use this for myself, and she's like shades darker than me.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's still so much that needs to be done. It doesn't stop at foundation. We need to do lip liners, we need to do powders, we need to do setting powders. There's so many things that need to be done, and I think that's why we still aren't able to find our shades, because there's been so much push on foundation, foundation, foundation. We don't just wear foundation and leave the house. Well, you do. I mean, and that's fine, but the majority of us like to do a lot more of it, yeah. I think that's the big, that's what I don't like about it, and I think that's the reason why we struggle still till this day.
Couple things for me. I feel like, to your point, it's the money aspect of it. We live in the UK, we're the minority. We're not going to be selling the same volume of products that our other counterparts obviously going to buy. So I think in the boardroom, when they're making decisions about what products to get rid of, 9 times out of 10, it's always the darker shades. Like, don't get me started. One of my favorite lip liners from Kiko, number 321, has just been discontinued, and it's hurting my soul. But we all know the reason why it's being discontinued, because they probably see, oh, it's not selling as much as X, Y, and Z lip liner, but it's still a liner that we all use, and it's affordable. Accessibility is also very important.
Yes.
A lot of the brands that we can use are not always the most affordable, and they're not always in the places that we can go to and just buy them. For example, at a Boots, you'd have to go to like a department store to buy them. And again, it's all about brands really collaborating with makeup artists and professionals. Like, one of the things that I've been really passionate about is consulting, working with brands where at the process where you're in the labs, where we can tell you, you know, this is how you create this sort of foundation. These are the undertones that you need. These are the kind of lip liners that we need. We need brown lip liners. You know, all of these different things are very important. And don't just be so kind of quick to kind of put the gauntlet down and cut, you know, shades that we need just because you feel like they're not selling as much as other products. That's so, so important. So yeah, accessibility, and also as well representation. Like, work with more makeup artists, hire more makeup artists, so that when they're on the counter, the people that come to see them can feel like, actually, that person looks like me. They're going to understand the conversation that we're going to be having. So that's very, very important as well.
I completely agree with everything. I completely agree with everything that's been said. I feel like the main thing for me is the affordability aspect of it. I know when I started getting into makeup, I will pop into Superdrug, try find like what would work for me, the blushes, the foundations, and I was lucky enough to find the darkest shade on me. And I know that there are other people that are darker than me, granted. So had I not have found like those few products that has like worked on me, I know that I wouldn't have got into makeup. So not having affordable products can deter a lot of people from even getting into makeup, starting makeup. So yeah, that's a really big issue. I kind of forgot what the question was.
You've answered it,
Yeah,
don't worry.
okay, yeah.
Guys, there should be some great people with roving mics. Oh, right back there. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, okay. There's a lady with a red top right at the front.
Hi, thank you. First of all, it's amazing to be part of this festival as an audience. It's an amazing platform, and I can't wait to see this grow into something much bigger. And thank you so much for all the information so far. I'm just going to make a comment and not really a question, kind of that something that ties in with what we've just been discussing about why there isn't more shades available or products available for darker skin toned. I know I'm a lighter shade black person, and it's also hard for me to find my correct shade. I've lived my life mixing 2 or sometimes 3 different shades. And I think Adeola touched upon it. It's a boardroom decision. My background is in retail fashion, and I've worked for a brand for a long time where they also sell makeup products. And after the BLM movement in 2020, they wanted to produce more, a bigger range of shades, the Fenty effect. And just like Adeola mentioned, the tones that ended up being discontinued were the darker toned ones. So products are being made and then they're not being marketed. Or I guess what I really want to say is for influencers and makeup artists and creatives like yourselves to help the consumers in ways that maybe when you're working with brands and you are sent these PR products, turn that frustration that you have of how it doesn't work for you into data, research. Most of the time, individuals in the boardrooms are, majority of them are men even, to begin with. They're not even women. So they're, in the first place, we are a double minority even. We're not white, and we're not being represented by women in the boardroom as well. So it's about how do we push that data, that information that the big man in the boardroom wants to change product into money. Really, at the end of the day, they want to make money. So we have a lot to do in terms of giving back that data. If it's, I don't know, Adeola sharing a L'Oreal foundation with her audience, and you do some sort of quick survey, and then give that back as a feedback of what the consumers feel like, then maybe there might be some connection with, okay, we've made this product for them. Why are they not using it? Well, we're not using it because there's still a big gap in what you're producing. And therefore, that way, we can make ourselves heard a little bit more, because it doesn't always ring true at the tail point. Like I said, if I'm going to MAC and buying 3 different shades, that MAC is seeing it as, hey, we've sold 3 products for this woman, so obviously their formula is working. So I just wanted to make a comment about that and making sure that we kind of, although we've come so far, we also continue to push our voices into the boardroom where the big guys can hear us, especially now when you see a great brand will be launched and then especially one of the 2 big conglomerates will come and eat them up. So we won't have a chance. So I don't want to turn this into the Mimi show, but I just wanted to share that point.
If we just keep the mic going down this line, the line behind, I think Mimi? Yeah. Thank you.
Hiya. First of all, thank you so much. You all look absolutely beautiful on the stage. I just wanted to ask, what are your favorite brands for eyeshadows, for pigmentation? I just feel like it doesn't ever stay on my eyes, during, say if I'm going out or something. Is there any tips for that? Thank you.
I feel like my go-to thing is putting concealer on first. But my favourite palette is the Lancome palette, the nude one. I wear that like pretty much every day. Yeah, that's mine.
There's quite a few that I love actually. Too Faced eyeshadow palettes I really, really love. I love cream shadow sticks. So one of the ways that I get a bit more pigment is to actually use like a eyeliner, maybe like a waterproof or gel eyeliner first as like a base, so that it kind of attaches a bit better, and then I apply my eyeshadow on top. Pat McGrath do some beautiful eyeshadows. The Mothership palettes are amazing, and they're not just for eyes, they can be used on the face as well. So also remember that like your palettes are amazing. They don't just have to be used on the eyes, they can be used on the face. It's how you utilize them. But there's some great options that are affordable as well. Sleek is also great, that I really, really love. They do some beautiful eyeshadows as well.
I would say, do you have like oily skin? Yeah, because I have oily skin. That used to be like one of my biggest issues when I was growing up. I found that if I would set my lids with a concealer, well, not set, but apply concealer to my lids, and then I set that with like a setting powder, and then go in with like the eyeshadow, it would last longer. And the favorite eyeshadows of mine would be like Too Faced. They do really nice pigmented browns. I love any brand that can do like a nice pigmented brown that's going to show up on my skin tone, because I don't think I can do eyeshadow without that sort of like shade working somewhere in the background. And I think also what I used to really love when it comes to like making eyeshadow stay is, like you said, like the liquid eyeshadow. So you can get some liquid eyeshadows that kind of like apply on, they looks like lip glosses, but they're liquid eyeshadows. Huda Beauty does some really, really good ones as well. Yeah, that's what I love.
I was going to say, ta-da! I mean, you guys saw when I put on that beautiful gold from NARS. So I love the NARS eyeshadows. I also love Pat. I have to have pigment in my eyeshadows. So for me, those are probably my two top brands to use, because I want to see the colour that I see in the palette on my face. Okay, and if I don't, I'll be really upset. Another product that you definitely have to try if you haven't tried it is the Smudge Proof Eyeshadow Base from NARS. It is absolutely amazing. You can get them in actually colours now as well, so they go down to, it goes up to a dark as well, which can even at your skin tone as well. But what I love about it is that it's depuffing, and it also does not move anything. So once you apply it, you don't have to worry about it creasing. So that's for everybody. If you haven't tried it, you've got to try it. But those are my two top brands. It will have to be Pat and NARS.
I would say when it comes to eyeshadow, it's really important to have a product on your eye that allows the eyeshadow to stick to your eye. For me, I love a really good eyeshadow base. I've always loved it. I love the MAC eyeshadow bases are great. The NARS ones are incredible. But even if you just want to work with what you have at the moment, apply a concealer. And a little trick that I do is whenever I apply a concealer, whether it's on my face or on my eyes, I apply it and then I give it like a couple of minutes, maybe 2 to 5 minutes, and let it dry a little bit. When it dries, you find that the coverage is better and it almost creates a tacky effect. So any product you put on it sticks to it and looks really, really pigmented. So that's a small little tip, and you'll find that's going to help you loads. Eyeshadow palettes, I like Morphe. Like Morphe do really incredible eyeshadow palettes, and it's very cost effective. They're like really big palettes. You get loads of colors. Yvonne was talking about browns. They really do just like a brown palette. There's some palettes that I look at and I'm like, this is not a normal eyeshadow palette. It's a transition palette. Like all the colors are different colors that you could use as transition colors. And then I feel like the shimmers and the glitters, I normally have to invest a little bit more. I get my NARS for my really good shimmers. Charlotte Tilbury do great shimmers. Pat McGrath do great shimmers. But just for your basic eyeshadow, try those tips. I think you'll be good.
Hi, sorry, this is a question for my sister who's starting out makeup business. How did you build your clientele?
Is this for me?
Yeah.
How did I build my clientele? I built my clientele from relationships. I think it's one thing to have a talent, but it's so important to make your client feel very special. Build that bond with your client, make them trust you. They'll always come back to you. And yeah, again, just working really, really hard in this industry, being consistent with posting on Instagram. Instagram has been a game changer for me. Like, I couldn't really afford to do any big marketing campaigns. I'm, not born into money or anything like that. So utilizing what you have, social media is so powerful. At the moment, I think for makeup and beauty, TikTok is incredible. Your post can go so far. Like, I got my first million views on TikTok, not on Instagram. I've been on Instagram for like 12 years. And the first time I ever saw a million views on any of my posts was on TikTok and then Instagram. But utilize your social media, be consistent, manifestation, great energy, and just like any room you go in, make sure your client leaves with a smile, because you might make a mistake. I've made mistakes with some of my biggest clients. I did a video about it a year ago. I worked on, what was it? Not the Met Gala. We did Met Gala last year. The event before that anyway. And the makeup didn't stay on. I was trying to go for this really, really glowy look. And I messed up by using a glowy product on a very, very oily skin because I was trying to get the glow. So for the first hour, it was flawless. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I'm a G boy. Like, this is glowing. 2-3 hours later, she was so shiny. And the red carpet pictures I wasn't satisfied with. Give yourself room to grow. Don't rush the process. But the relationship I had with my client was so strong. She trusted me. She knew it was a genuine mistake. And she rebooked me. And we've done so many amazing projects since then. So believe in yourself. But more than anything else, leave people with a feeling of trust and likability. And you'll never be forgotten.
I love that. I see one hand. It's like Wednesday, the hand in Wednesday, just sticking up there. There you go.
Hi. Thank you for being here today. It's so nice to see all of these gorgeous Black women on the panel, and I love all of your artistry. I just wanted to ask you more about celebrating more Black-owned brands, and I think it's important that we do push Black-owned brands to the forefront, because a lot of us don't necessarily always know who they are. But I wanted to know, are you in contact with any that you can recommend? I know there's some great brands in the States, such as Mented Cosmetics and Ami Collet, but are there any other Black brands that you can recommend or that you would be interested in doing collaborations with? Because I think that's what's going to actually help in terms of dispelling that whole issue around shades for us. We need to buy for us, by us.
Do you know, I'll jump in there first and say, because I was having this conversation earlier today, one of the biggest, I wouldn't even say it's a problem, leaning into that word of collaboration again, I think so many creators, definitely not the ones on this panel, but so many creators, Black creators, get their career to a space where then if there ain't no fee, they ain't doing it. And the reality is most Black-owned businesses don't yet have the fee that can compete with L'Oreal, NARS, or MAC. So it's up to us as the creator to remain engaged with our community. Like, I don't necessarily want nor need a fee from the beauty beat or a Black-owned business, because I'm taking money from Sainsbury's. I'm taking money from massive corporations who I know who have it, so I can then return to my community and say, squash the fee. This is about me helping you elevate, or me showing up and being supportive, because I know I'm at a time in my life where having my name attached to a thing is going to help you. So I think many Black creators, unfortunately, need to get out of their own way a little bit and understand that those in their communities and the surrounding areas don't have the budgets that the bigger names do. And of course, we'd want everyone to do that, and they don't. So all I try and do is remember that those brands see so much help when I post a thing or I promote them, and it makes their till ring. And most of the Black businesses I promote, they are small. But that's just something that I've had to learn and remind myself that if the shoe was on the other foot, that could potentially be life-changing for me. But again, I can't speak for everyone else, but like I said, I would hope that next year is about collaboration, and maybe say for every 5 huge campaigns we're doing with the people that have the money, we're making 2 spaces on our feeds or on our TikTok for those that don't.
That's an amazing answer. I think this conversation is so important. This conversation is so real. I think, for me, it's like we've worked our whole lives to get to this point, right? Like when we talk about starting my journey, I started 14, 15 years ago being interested in makeup. For the last 6 years, and then specifically for the last 2 years since BLM, I've seen a huge change in making money in this industry. I have multiple streams of income. So it's doing makeup on set, running an academy, creating content for brands, and you see all this money coming at you. You're also trying to elevate. And I think sometimes we're in our own heads. We believe, like, if I'm not using NARS or I'm not using YSL and I'm not holding a Bottega bag, well, then I'm not bougie. Like I said before, and this is something I'm learning right now, right here, in this moment of my life, go where you're celebrated. And I say that because we need to understand that we are pride. We are incredible. There's nothing wrong with using a black-owned brand. One of my favorite lip glosses is by Mahina Makeup. Don't know if you guys know her. Mahina's so sick at makeup, and she's someone that's inspired my makeup journey for years. She developed her own lip gloss line, Makeup by Mahina, and it's incredible. If you haven't used it, go out there and try it. I shot American Vogue for Michaela Cole, front cover for American Vogue, and all the lipsticks that we used were Makeup by Mahina, and I let her know that. So when we were doing the American Vogue video, I made Michaela hold her lip gloss in all of the videos. And that for me was my little way of pushing a black brand and putting her at the forefront and giving her her flowers. The lip gloss melted into her lips so beautifully that she stole all of it from me. So I need to go out and buy it again. But I say all of this to say, like, it's something that I need to learn. I don't do it enough. I can definitely put my hand up and say I don't use enough black-owned brands, and that's something that I'm going to work on next year, being a little bit more collaborative, not even a little bit, being a lot more collaborative with women that look like me, and moving with pride in my own race and in my own community. And yeah, not in any way am I going to stop working with the brands I work with, because I love them and they're a big part of why I'm in the rooms that I'm in now. And I have to give I have to give thanks to the brands that have invested in me. NARS have done loads of campaigns with me in the last 24 months. And I have to say, those campaigns I've done with them opens rooms for me to work with bigger brands and then bring my sisters along with me. Do you understand? So sometimes it's not that we're turning our backs from the smaller brands, but we're trying to make a way to have a seat on the table. And unfortunately, someone's got to do it. So sometimes it seems like we don't want to do it, we don't want to support our own, but actually we're trying to get to the top and then bring everyone along with us. Well, at least that's what I'm trying to do. Anyone else?
No one else?
It's a hard one.
No, don't do that.
Okay, I want to say something.
Okay, go on.
What was the question again? It was like, what black-owned brands?
Yeah.
I'm going to list some black-owned brands that I like. Beauty Bakery. I like Oma Beauty. My friend Destiny released this makeup brand, and it's called Destiny Beauty. It's phenomenal. You should check it out. Very affordable eyeshadow palette. Mahina Makeup is phenomenal. Yeah, so those are just a few I like, just to round this little segment up.
I love that, because these are girls that we've watched on Instagram. These are girls that, like, they're normal girls like me and you, like from the same type of backgrounds, and they've just seen a niche or seen a gap in the market, and they want to bring their artistry to life. And that's something I want to do as well, so I'm so inspired by it. So thank you for mentioning more names, and I'll go out and do some research on those brands as well, so thank you.
Love that. Okay, guys, the last question. You caught my eye. All white at the front, please. All white outfit. Child, I don't want to get cancelled, you know. All white, oh my God.
Hi, so I just started getting into makeup. Like, I never used to wear makeup. I'm still learning. But I had a question about under-eye creases. So I've tried using less products, more products. Nothing works, it just always creases. So is there like a technique or product I can use to stop that? Yeah.
Can I? What's your skin type? Do you have oily skin as well? combination? Is like underneath your eye quite dry or? And then oily T-zone. I used to deal with that a lot, and I would say what I started doing is sometimes when you do apply the concealer, you like just leave it for a little bit to kind of like it's kind of what Bernicia was saying earlier, just let it sit there, dry a bit before blending out, because sometimes it can become more full coverage, and when it is blended out, I purposely I don't know how to demonstrate this, say the mirror's here, I'm purposely like positioning the mirror in a way where I'm not creasing my eye, so it's as flat as possible. So as soon as that is blended out, I'm going in with my setting powder, and then I can be comfortable again. And sometimes also baking, so I'll set it with a very, very small amount of powder first, like just to like blend everything out and make sure there's no creasing, and then I'll go back in with that same setting powder and just apply a bit more and let that bake whilst I'm doing maybe my bronzer or my eyebrows or my eyeshadow, and I find it lasts a lot longer that way, but that's just me. And primer as well. Primer is very important. But
I have something that I've recently started doing, which I'm absolutely loving on myself, being that I'm a little bit more dry skin. So for anybody that's a little bit dry in the room, is that actually applying your concealer on first. So using a Radiant Creamy Concealer, that's my go-to, as you guys already know. And then I set it with powder, and then I put concealer again on top of it. And it just creates this amazing, almost like a soft matte finish for underneath the eye, but I don't go on with powder again because I don't like to look powdery underneath the eye. So I still get that kind of light reflective glow coming through, but it looks like I've set it with powder, but I haven't, if that makes sense. So it's just having that powder in between and just building like we was doing on Bernicia earlier. So that is something that I'm absolutely loving. I shouldn't have shared that with you. I was trying to keep it to myself. But, but yes, try that and see how you get on.
Is that it? Guys, thank you so much. Okay, go real quick. Run with the mic. We have 1 minute to go. We can do it. Where is it?
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you, guys. Oh my gosh, you guys are so beautiful, so amazing. Okay, quick question. For the under eye, I struggle with watery eyes. So whenever I've got my makeup is banging, it's flawless. But sorry, I'm just looking at you, Bernicia, because, sorry, my eye, I get really watery, and it comes up to my eyelid, and my makeup it just looks wrong. So does any of you have any tips or anything that you can help with that?
Okay, so watery eyes is such a hard one to tackle, because water literally, especially when it comes from your body, your tears, it literally breaks down the makeup, and that can be really, really annoying. And not only annoying, but it's if it happens all the time, I can imagine it can be a little bit of an insecurity. Maybe you need to look into if you might be allergic to any products. Sometimes we don't realize that we have allergies to certain products. Do you find that it's with every time you wear makeup, with any product you use, you get watery eyes? Or, sorry, the better question is, do you have watery eyes regardless of makeup? Okay, so I would say, when you're using products under your eyes, just make sure you don't put tons of makeup right under your eyes. And I know that sounds annoying, and it's but I want this really, really full coverage. But it's less detectable if there's less makeup there. So yeah, you can use your powders. Maybe don't do 3 layers of concealer under your eyes. And as soon as you see your eye starting to water, what I like to do is use a tissue on the inside of my eye. So before the tear drops, you just have to be on top of it and use a very fine powder, like the NARS one that was used on my face. That's incredible because it's so fine, it's less detectable. So if you're using a very, very thick powder, one of my go-to powders is Laura Mercier, their translucent powder. I swear by it, it's one of my holy grails. But it's a very thick powder. So if anything smudges, it's more detectable. A finer powder that gives a more natural finish will definitely reduce the look of the watery eyes. But yeah, you're gorgeous, by the way. So beautiful.
Guys, that's all we have time for. I hope you all enjoyed that. Thanks, ladies. This was great. Loved it. Yay.